Good evening and welcome to the Speaker MC Show. Tonight, you're in for a real good treat. Really good treat. My name's Marcia Chambers, aka Speaker MC, and we have some lovely guests this evening. Lovely, fantastic guests. Yes. Tonight, let's see, I'm going to bring up the show program so you guys can see everything that's going on here in my world. As I said, it's the Speaker MC Show, and today our topic is, you ate all of it? Yeah, we're talking about that stress diet, emotional eating, our addiction to food. Yes, you ate all of it. Especially, it's so timely because next week, you know what next week is? Thanksgiving. That's right, when that loads of food, that wonderful spread of cakes and ice cream and turkey and chicken and you name it. Yes. Are we going to be at the table all night eating? The stress diet. Well, some of us act as if it's Thanksgiving every day because for whatever reason, emotionally, you're filling a void or you're just stressed out from work or, excuse me, you're just unhappy about something. And you know what they say? Stressed is desserts spelled backwards. Well, if you're new to the show, this is the Speaker MC Show. And what we talk about here is 60 minutes. It's candid conversations with two guests and me, your host. We talk about how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to our environment, and how we relate to others, because the Speaker MC Show is all about relationships. Our intention for you, the audience, is to empower and enlighten you and help you to create harmonious environments and boost your self-confidence. And to our guests, we provide a platform and an opportunity so that they may be able to share their message to a different circle of influence. And for everyone, just have fun. Just have fun. So tonight's topic of you ate all of it, talking about emotional eating, we're going to discuss the definition. What exactly is stress eating? Does anybody know what that is? And how is it that we are suffering from a day-to-day stress eating and not even realizing that that's what's going on? And we're going to offer some tips and solutions on how can we do better and why we should do better. You know, the medical community has dysfunction for every damn thing. Everything is a dysfunction of some sort. Well, here are some statistics. Binge eating, as it's more commonly known, binge eating, it's a disorder. They call it BED, binge eating disorder, BED. They say that in women, it's very common in early adulthood. And in men, it's common most of their lives. Why is that? I guess guys get more stressed than women. I don't know. But according to these stats, written by Julian Schaefer, yes, and it was medically reviewed by Athena Robinson, and this is an article from 2015. It says that 2.8 million people have BED. I don't mean they have a bed. I mean they have the bed, BED, binge eating disorder. And this was officially something that was recognized and diagnosed in 2013. So can you imagine, just in 2 years after it being recognized, they realized that 2.8 million people are suffering from this? That's crazy. And who gets it? Well, 3.5% of women. So if you have 5 girlfriends, 3.5 of you have BED. Yeah, that's sad. It's very common among women, and it's seen in all ages, all races, all income levels. they're saying that BED is more common than HIV, more common than breast cancer, and more common than schizophrenia. Now that's something to make you say, more people have it than they even know. So that's what we're going to talk about here tonight. Here are some more stats. Did I go over these stats just now? Why am I going over them again? I don't know. But next week is you know what. So now what? Well, let's meet our guests. Tonight we have two phenomenal women, and I do mean phenomenal in their own rights. And you'll get to meet them and say hello to them in just a few minutes. First we have, excuse me, I have this cough. I don't know what to do with. First we have Miss Najami Lezama. Yes, Najami is a holistic practitioner, and she is also a certified professional life awareness coach. She has been in this field for 27 years, and she also works as a massage therapist. Yeah, and she gives some really good massage. I was privy to one of those. Yes. Her circle of life transformation, she as a coach, she presents the Bush Woman Conversations. Whoa, man, yeah. Override that stinking thinking. How stinking thinking creates emotional eating. Yes, use food as fuel. Is this show appropriate for her? Let me think. Najami helps one to create a transformational shift that helps one gain more confidence about their life choices, direction, action with authentic integrity, and freedom from limiting beliefs. Najami, just say hello.
Hey, hello there. How are you? Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
And thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And our next guest is, so I met Pamela. When did I meet Pamela? About 2 years ago. I met Pamela at a convention, and she just struck me. Her red hair and everything, is it reddish blonde? It just struck me, and she has such a happy personality about her. So, you know, happy means happy. Hey, only to find out that Pamela has a Posh Destination Services. And you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, Posh Destination Services is your ticket to a healthy, stress-free vacation! Woo! Yes, and you know, I love vacation because I love traveling. Pamela Smith Evans is the company's founder and CEO, and she combines her two great loves, travel and exquisite events. And she creates a custom tailored journey for a range of groups, from business conferences to wellness holidays. Posh Destination Services specializes in planning your ideal destination event. We serve parties, groups, corporations, organizations, and associations. She services everybody. Hey! My kind of girl. All right. So all destination events, weddings, conferences, meetings, corporate functions, retreats, sales incentives, small group travel. She does it all. Pam, just say hello to our audiences.
Hello, audience.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. And in case you're wondering, well, who is that lady screaming and carrying on? Well, that's me. My name is SpeakerMC. Yes, Marcia Chambers, aka SpeakerMC. I am a speaker and a sexual wellness consultant, and I help women who are lonely in their relationships to go from sexless to steamy. That's right. You heard it here first. As a consultant, my mission is to reduce the world's divorce rate by 50%. And that's why I created S.W.E.L.L. for women. Because I observe people exchanging DNA without asking the right questions beforehand, and then subjecting the rest of us to their dysfunctions, like traffic jams. Hello. My message shares information to women about having better sex and intimacy so that they give themselves permission to be sensual and sexual and then begin to lead empowered lifestyles. Yeah, so they stop feeding that emotion where they're lacking that sex. Yes. I produce and host a few shows that share this message about female sexuality. They're S.W.E.L.L Happy Hour, S.W.E.L Playroom, and the Bush's Swelling Show, which my co-host is on the show tonight, Najami, Bushwoman. And all three concentrate on shifting how we think about sex and sexuality. This show, the SpeakerMC Show, which is all about relationships, explores how we relate to ourselves, to our environment, and to each other. So right now, I'm going to stop sharing and take everyone off mute so that we can delve into this conversation. Ladies, welcome, welcome, welcome to the SpeakerMC Show.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. And thank you to our guest who was so proud to put herself on camera. Woo! So our topic tonight, and we usually have just candid conversations, and this topic tonight was inspired by a friend of mine, a male gentleman. We were at, I forgot what function we were, and what he did, I had to step back. So there was a buffet, and he went and he took 2 plates. Well, that's not uncommon. Sometimes people don't want food to be mixed, right? And he piled up 1 plate, and then he piled up the other plate. And this wasn't a big guy where you'd say, oh, he's very huge. I mean, he was a little chunky, but excuse me. Nevertheless, sat at the table, and we're in conversation, and he's eating, and we're in conversation. Now, I'm a slow eater, and I was finished before he was, and he was still eating. And I said to him, aren't you full? And he said, I didn't know what that meant, but he proceeded to eat. And he finished 1 plate, and it was as if the dishwasher had just washed the plate. It was clean. And then he started on the other plate, and we were still in conversation. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching him. I'm flabbergasted by the whole thing. I'm taken aback because I said, where does he put all of this? And he sat right through. I think this was about an hour, literally an hour that I was cognizant of. It might have been longer because I only started realizing like an hour in. And when he finished the 2nd plate, I had to ask him, I said, why did you do that? And he's like, do what? Why did you clean both plates? He said, well, that's how I was raised. Aren't you supposed to? I said, what are you talking about? Didn't you get full after the first one? He's like, I said, what the hell does that mean? He said, listen, when I was little, my mother always told me, you better eat everything on your plate or you're getting a beating. And he grew up with that threat. So it seems to have been embedded in his DNA that you must clean everything off your plate, hungry or no hungry, full or no full. So ladies, I want to ask you, was that, that might be an emotional eating because that was something that was in his DNA or something that he's used to, or it wasn't because he was hungry. We usually are supposed to eat when we're hungry. When you're full, you stop. Now, is that food addiction? Is that emotional eating? Is that stress eating? What the hell was that? And can we define what is stress eating? Pamela, want to take a shot at it?
That was not stress eating, but it comes from, I guess, that DNA you were talking about earlier. When you are brought up from day one to think a certain way, then it's just a part of you, and you just have to work extremely hard, if you recognize it, to overcome that. I wouldn't say it was stress, but it is definitely, I'd say it was more of a cultural thing. We are raised with certain beliefs. Like when I grew up, my mother said, well, you better clean your plate because think of all the hungry kids that aren't as blessed as you. Well, I live with that to this day. Is it a stress related thing? No, but it's that mindset that's ingrained.
The hungry kids in Africa syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, I had heard that too, but I think I outgrew the hungry kids in Africa. I send them money, so I'm like, you shouldn't be hungry anymore. So here you go, kind of thing. I'm not trying to be coy or snide or anything like that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. So many of our parents raise us like that, yes, and with that threat, and they don't really realize the effect, the long-term effect. Right. Like that gentleman. Yeah. Right. Thank you for that. Najami, do you want to give us an insight to this emotional eating, or what is the definition?
Well, emotional eating comes from many, many different areas, and it's about the saturation of the pleasure principle. I mean, we all have addictive behaviors, and I don't like to say we are addicts, but we have addictive behaviors to certain things, to sex, to chocolate, shopping, etc. But most of the addictions we have, especially when it comes to eating, comes from emotional states in our lives. And these emotional states are learned behavior. Let's say addictions to food can be connected to a situation that happened in your life. Let's say your parents got divorced, or there was some kind of tragedy, or people have not learned to let go most times, and it's always connected to some form of stress. Let's say the stress of that parent telling that child that you have to eat everything on your plate. Food helps to change our emotional state. So let's say we look at something and we eat it, it kind of fills a need. And part of that also has to do with the messages that is sent from the brain, especially the prefrontal cortex that controls every decision that we make, and also the reptilian brain that connects to survival. So let me give you an story. I was raised in an environment where there were times when things were hard for my mother. Things were, we had certain poor experiences of not having food as often as we would like. So I am a person who will rather spend money on buying food and going shopping for clothes or things of that nature. I always like to see a fridge full of food or a cupboard full of food. And I had to question that one day. I said, where is this need I have for buying food? I mean, Marcia, you can attest to that, because when you talk to me a lot, I'm shopping for food.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
But I believe also, as Bushwoman, that food is your medicine. So it's a mixed bag for me, because I am aware of certain foods which I hope to share that will help to heal the body. But and there's some books I would like to share that will help people who are emotional eaters. There's a great book called Brain Over Binge, and it helps to stop binge eating. Another book is called The Power of Habit. Another great book is The Body You Deserve by Tony Robbins. You can listen on YouTube to that tape. And he gives 7 NLP, neuro-linguistic programming steps, that outlines what you want, and by having a goal for your body. So food is very much connected to emotional states, and also to certain patterns that we have developed, certain patterns that we continue to do on a consistent basis. So there are certain things that we can do, to switch that pleasure principle.
Before we go into the resolution of resolving the emotional eatings, I just want to be able to, and that's a wealth of information. And I thank you for that. A lot of people do eat their feelings. We hear that quite often. You're eating your feelings. But for people who don't even know that they have some kind of emotional eating, they snack a lot and they just feel like, oh, I just wanted that snack. When can they recognize that this happens to them? How can they recognize that, hey, you're crossing that line? It's a fine line between, yeah, I'm hungry, I feel for this, and, oh, I'm just eating because I'm trying to fill that pleasure void, as you say.
Yeah. Well, there's something called leverage. You got to leverage yourself. And by that, what I mean is that we are controlled by pain or pleasure. And so when we eat food and based on pleasure, we have to learn to change the pleasure to pain. And when I say pain, I don't mean it being painful. We have to learn about, it's like the question, need and want. Do I want to eat? Do I need to eat? Right? If you want to eat, okay, you have to evaluate, why do I want to eat this thing? Because sometimes you get triggered we have to identify triggers. So triggers sometimes can become like you being a couch potato watching a movie and here flashes this commercial about some food. And there you get up and you go and you get that food. But eating unhealthy food or binge or even bulimic eating has its consequences. So you have to ask yourself deep probing questions. What is this going to cost me? What has it already cost me in my life? If you're not eating tubs and tubs of ice cream on a consistent basis, is adding more pounds onto your hips and your waist and your stomach, you have to ask yourself, now I'm craving this ice cream. Is it really going to hurt me? Is it really all going to help me?
But wait a minute, Najami. But hold on, Najami. So I appreciate that standpoint, but how many people actually have the time to, you're going through this stressful whatever it is, and you're rationalizing in your brain that, yeah, I want that. It takes a certain level of discipline to actually step back and start to reassess and say, well, am I thirsty, or do I really want that tub of ice cream, or is it because John pissed me off, or what? It takes a certain level of discipline. Now, Pamela, I know you do a lot of cruises and everything, and the cruises, they're laden with food. Yes. Laden. Do you think that there are a lot of binge eaters who are out there? They just see the food and say, oh, food, glorious food. But how do they even recognize that they're stepping across that line and going into this binge?
Yes, they absolutely, because they feel it's a limited amount of time. They've spent this money. They want to get everything out of it they can. So yes, people are eating all day long, sometimes all night long too. But then on the other hand, there are people who find other activities to take their mind off the food. They read at the pool. They participate in the activities going on, whether they're planned by the ship or whether they do their own activities. There is a spa. There's the library. There are so many things on the ship that you can do, and some cruises even have dance lessons. That's me. That's my cruise. With all the physical activity, and one thing about physical activity, when you start with the physical activity, that takes away from this desire. You're so big. The best way I have found to walk away from the food is find something you love to do, something active.
Mm-hmm.
And do that. And by the time you get through having such a good time, you're not worried about the food.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that is my way really of dealing with this, because I am one of those people that loves to eat. When some people say, yes, I eat to live, I'm one of those that says, oh no, I live to eat. I love it. And yes, I have to step back and say, okay, Pam, you love it, but I want to get into this outfit next week. I want to do I have a purpose when I'm saying, oh no, okay, Pam, if I can't do this, how can I control myself? And if you have a lot of goals, things that you want to do, where if you eat too much, it would affect your enjoyment in these other activities, then that too, you don't have to focus so much at the moment on, well, why am I doing this? But it's just something that's already, okay, in a month, I want to get into this outfit. In a month, I want to reward myself with a cruise. I want to reward myself with a vacation. I want to reward myself with something other than food. And yes.
So you're basically agreeing with what Najami said, to kind of restrain yourself, to kind of step back and discipline yourself. My question to you both is, in the heat of the moment, I mean, when the self-discipline does not come into play, how else? Okay, let me offer this. So, emotional eating, are you living to eat or are you eating to live? Sometimes you feel as if, I'm craving this thing. I'm craving salt. I'm craving sugar. I'm craving whatever it is. Why am I craving this? Ooh, I want this. Maybe drink some water. And after you drink the water, maybe you're no longer craving that. That would be my recommendation to not eating the feelings. But I spoke with a chef the other day, and he shared with me that eating is a sensual thing. Eating because the food is now romancing the way he described it, I'm like, you need to write this shit down, because it sounded so good. It sounded like a porno movie. He said the food is romancing your palates. And when it gets to the back of your throat and all those taste buds and tastes and spices explode, he says that it just, the stomach is just waiting for them to just come and greet it. I mean, the way he said it, it was like, can I get some of that now? So some people, even though they may be emotional eaters, it may be that, yeah, and I know that we're eating our feelings, but it may be that they find such sensory pleasure with the food and the eating of it, that to take that away. And I don't think that was that gentleman's excuse, that he found all that food so sensual and he just had to eat every bit of it off of his plate. I don't know what that was about. I mean, I know what it was about, but I don't know what it was about. But based on that, yeah, that's where I was going, as far as, can we come up with something where, yeah, we're walking out with Jane and we're walking out with Mary and we're going out and they're craving these things. Yeah, step back and have a goal in mind to say, I need to fit into that dress, or I need to go on that cruise. I mean, I had that goal and it just went out the window. I'm like, I'm going on vacation, and I'm like, it went out the window. Went out the window. But where was I going with this? So the snacking and substituting the snacking. Okay, so let's go with, we've already defined what it is, and we've already signaled how we can recognize the binge eaters, so to speak. So let's go into the solutions now. Najami, I know you had a plethora of them. So let's go into some of the solutions that you would recommend for people who are eating their pleasure and eating their emotions and eating their stresses.
Well, I don't want to piggyback on what my other guest is saying. It's very
Pamela?
true. Leverage. It's about leverage and being aware of conscious eating. Listen, there's nothing wrong with once in a while having a certain type of food that saturates and fills that sensuous part of you. Food is a very, shall I say, emotional, sensual experience. But what helps us to make wise choices is being aware, awareness. As a personal development awareness life coach, I really try my best to be very aware of not only the foods that I eat, but I really try to be aware of when I eat the food, what it is doing to my body, how does it feel going down. And a lot of times the patterns that we do is based on stress, boredom, and being bored is also a trigger as well. So let's take an example. You were forced to eat a certain type of food. And as you become an adult and someone puts that food in front of you, all of a sudden you have a flashback how much you hated it, how it made you puke, and you will not eat that food. So what we have to do is to trick the brain. We have to create these interruptions of old patterns. And what interrupts a pattern is connecting the eating to animals. I kind of know if when I get stressed, I tend to grab chocolate or I grab ice cream. Or if I'm looking at something, this is what's going to happen. So as Pam suggested, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, a pattern interruption is such things like either put your sneakers on, you go exercise, or you journal writing, or you call a friend, or start dancing. Because you know that if you keep on with this binging, it is going to be very negative effects for you. And as I said before, you have to weigh the pros and cons between something of a need and a want. So let's say you're eating something, the mind doesn't know whether the food is real or not. If you visualize you have a craving for something, imagine that food and imagine that somebody puked all over that food. Or
so
the dog defecated on that particular dish, and you just close your eyes and imagine, you know what, I'm not feeling for that food right now because that food look kind of yucky. You have to play mind games and conditioning your subconscious by breaking the patterns with new ones. All right. So as I say, practice makes perfect, but repetition is the mother of skill. So we have to be aware and conscious of these binge eatings that we have to not only create a body that we deserve and get into that outfit, which is fantastic, but it is discipline. It is discipline. It's working on changing your emotional states. It's something that has to deal with repetition. We have to keep working on that. And also, if I may add, certain emotions are connected to food. So, and this is also based on the Chinese philosophy, on Chinese medicine, how, like, if you're a person who suffers with anger, have a lot of anger issues, it means that your liver is stagnant, and it also affects the health of your skin. So, if you're a person who is angry all the time, for whatever reason, you get, green foods help to strengthen the liver. To cleanse your liver, you can do something like a castor oil pack on the outside of your liver to cleanse the liver. Grief deals with lungs, tightness of the chest, and some of the foods that helps us to become more healthy with our apples and vitamin C, kiwis, grapefruit helps with that. Worry deals with guilt, and worry also affects the health of the stomach. So we have to be aware of our emotions. Praying for things that we don't want affects the hydrochloric acid in the body. Apple cider vinegar is very good for helping to balance that. Positive affirmations. You know, we have to be conscious of the way how we are living our lives, how things are affecting us, how people, and letting go. We hold on to a lot of pain. We hold on to a lot of shame, guilt, anger, of stuff that happened way in the past that no longer serves us in our future. What helps with worry and helps to soothe the stomach, as I said, apple cider vinegar helps, okra helps, also eating piece of ginger helps. And so it helps to soothe the mucus lining. Another emotional state that's created by stress is the heart. Stress affects the heart. It affects the brain. So what helps in saturating that area of not feeling fulfilled are things like nuts and seeds. Cashew nuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds are excellent for reducing stress levels and also gives the body energy. And you can mix pumpkin seeds in a smoothie, put it in a salad. And the brain also is nourished by things like green tea, pasteurized eggs if you're into eggs, and it replenishes the chemical messenger and the neurotransmitters of the brain. And fear, which is ruled by kidney, and how you can tell that you got a kidney issue going on if you're frequently urinating all the time, a lot of pain in the lower back. And kidney deals with not feeling supported. Kidney, so what helps to ground ourselves is meditation, exercise, taking a walk outside barefoot if you can on a beach or something, being around nature. And one of the foods that helps with that kidney, strengthening that, is parsley, not just for decoration, but eating a lot of parsley, strawberries, cabbage. And cabbage helps to fuel the mitochondria cells, which are powerhouse to the body to give us energy.
Wow, so whoa. That's a whole 3 mouthfuls. I don't know if a lot of people were able to write all that stuff down, but that's a wealth of information. But I really appreciate the apple cider and the kidney not feeling supported, the frequent urination. A lot of people go through all of that. But dancing, I really like the pattern interruption. And Pamela, can you speak to the dancing to kind of relieve you of getting that craving to eat something that you shouldn't because of whatever, you have your goal, or you just want to not fall into that BED, binge, that disorder, binge emotional disorder?
I was born a dancer. That is my passion. That is my soul. And whenever I am dancing, I tell you, I get such a natural high that I don't think about food. I don't think about anything because I'm sky high in my world of euphoria. There is nothing to me like dancing. And now I'm a person that hates to exercise, but I will dance any minute, anytime. That is absolutely the best stress reliever. Whenever I'm not dancing, I feel a difference in my body, in my energy, in my motivation, absolutely my stress level. Dancing is the best thing in the world for relieving that stress.
I can appreciate that. And this is my best stress reliever. Coconut water. I love coconut water. We have a guest here that is listening into the show. Would you like to say something, Mazana? Is there anything that you'd like to add to this dialogue here?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much. It is a wealth of information that's being given. But there's so much that comes with this whole eating thing, and there are a lot of ways that you could either calm or curb your appetite. And so one of the things I want to say, people, for me, yes, it's cultural, But I've also noticed from my practice that also a form of, we get together, especially our culture, we come together and everything is done with food. So from the onset of life, we are taught, we are domesticated on how to eat. Now, as we grow older, there's certain things develop, be it health concerns, it could be the way we look, whatever it is, and we start to tweak the way we think about food, or how we're interacting, or how we see ourselves. And that, for me, is where it starts. So when I'm counseling individuals, be it spiritually, that's where I start. I start with the self. How do you see yourself? And I give exercises. So therefore, one of the exercises that works quite nicely is taking all your clothes off in the mirror. Just you, a pen and a paper. And you look in the mirror and you say, what is it that I am willing to change about what I'm seeing? Whatever it is that I don't particularly care for, what is it that I'm willing to change? And how passionate am I about changing it? Because we always see, like, we want to lose weight, we want to lose weight, and so I'm going on vacation, I want to lose 10 pounds, and then the vacation comes and you still haven't lost the 10 pounds. And
That'll be me.
And it's because it's really not that serious for you. And so therefore, you don't do it. Even when it comes to health, you look at your health and you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, okay, you have to lose 20 pounds. You're overweight. You need to, let's start with 20 pounds. And you may go home and it's not that serious for you. So my thing is, how much do you love you? And how much is it, how important is it for you to lose this weight, or to not eat as much? And so you may find that it really isn't a big deal. If for you, you may want to, but you may not want to put that kind of work in. So then we talk about, then what can we do? So this whole thing, it really doesn't have to be so complicated, but let's keep it simple. So things like, if you normally go to your dinner table, and that's where you have your food at the table, and so you sit with the food in front of you, where you can dish out from the bowls into your plate. Let's move that away. Let's leave the food on the stove. If it is that you enjoy eating chocolate and candy and what have you, don't purchase it in the house. Don't bring it in the house. Bring the fruits in the house. And if you want that ice cream or that chocolate, then you have to get up, put your clothes on, go to the store and purchase it. That will tell you how badly you want this. And if you say, like, you know what, I want it, but I really don't feel like either walking downstairs or walking outside the house and what have you, then, because that craving only really lasts for about 2 minutes. If you can get through those 2 minutes, then you can work at something else. You can dance. You can dance for 2 minutes. You can sing. You can do whatever it is. You can do art. Whatever it is, exercise. Whatever it is for 2 minutes. Don't complicate it. We tend to complicate our lives so much that it causes the stress, that causes this emotional eating. So let's not go there. Let's not get in this crazy thing. So it starts with you and it ends with you. Yes, because the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, they're so sensitive. And as you know, the subconscious mind knows everything that you've done and you have learned from day one to now. And the conscious mind is your critic. And so therefore, your conscious mind is telling you all the time what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And because we don't stay in the present moment, we're always either in our projected future or our past. The conscious mind is constantly guiding us and we're following it. So if you can bring yourself, and this is going to take time because it doesn't happen overnight.
Discipline.
Yes, just bring yourself back into right now, and so you say, okay, well, right now, I want for the next week or next 3 days to change my diet a little bit. Let me remove the sweets for a week or for 3 days out of my diet. And so, of course, you're going to feel positive and motivated about this. And so you're going to set on that journey to do that. And in doing so, your conscious mind is going to surface because all along it has been guiding you and you've been listening to it. And
well,
so
my conscious mind lives downstairs. She's my mother.
Okay, and so your conscious mind is going to say to you when you're doing this, come on, you can have a little bit of candy. So what? It's just one. You'll get past it. And so you have to be able to say to yourself, I value my word. And so therefore, if I give myself my word for 3 days, I can do this for a week. I can do this. And you have to stick with it. Yes, it's discipline, but the more you do it, it's the easier it gets. And so that in combination with the dancing Pamela that you love so much, it will work. The thing is not to make it such a big deal. Don't do that because that brings another weight to the situation. The guilt, the shame, all of that is going to be included. So no, we don't want to do that. We want to make it nice and simple.
I like what you said about inconveniencing yourself. So don't bring the ice cream into the house. Don't bring all the chips into the house. If you want it, put on your clothes and either go downstairs or go outside and go get it. So I like that part of it where you say make it as inconvenient as possible because that kind of nurtures the discipline.
Correct.
What I've been doing is I love Doritos. Love Doritos. No, they're not o'clock in the morning sometimes, and I'll just have something just to taste. So I've since replaced the Doritos with these, which are raisins, right? I don't know if you can see it, but I've replaced it with raisins and carrots. Now I love carrots, but carrots are so good for you. Maybe after eating that bag of carrots, I won't have to wear glasses anymore. But what I've been doing, and that counters to that not counters, but it begs what you guys just said. It just kind of reiterates what you and Najami had said about really disciplining yourself. So I say to myself, okay, am I thirsty? So I'll grab this and I'll drink this. Oh, do I still feel for the Doritos? Let me have some carrots. Do I want carrots or do I want Doritos? Obviously, I'd say I want Doritos, but I don't have any Doritos here. So I'll get the carrots or I'll get the raisins. So that's a healthier choice. So maybe that's something that people can incorporate into their disciplines as a way of disciplining them to the bigger tasks. Yeah, I love it.
I want to say one other thing that was mentioned earlier about the whole food and the sensuality of the food, and it is true. That is so true. We have a tendency though because again of not staying in the moment, that we're always on the go. We're always multitasking or something. So you find that we eat and we don't even really take the time to sit and savor the food and the flavors that we're getting and what have you. So we're constantly shoveling the food. We're not taking that time to chew properly and to breathe while we're eating and to think about how good this is going down and what it's doing for us. We don't have all of that time. So we get lost. That gets lost in the process. So we never really get satisfied. So we're always searching for something to satisfy that craving, whatever it is within us. So if we can find time or we say to ourselves, okay, well, I'm going to sit and eat now. And as you sit and you eat, take that time out to block everything out and just enjoy that food. And yes, instead of bringing the soda or the sweet drink to the table, you bring the water or the coconut water, because the coconut water actually is
Hydrates.
like 10 times better than the water itself. It's just
Yeah.
they never talk about that, but it really is. If you're going to drink something, you could really drink coconut water and get all the benefits and more from it as you would water. But a lot of people don't. In this country, we have a fear of lacking, you know, and we see it in
funny you said
everything.
that.
We see it in everything, and
Yeah.
and so the more you're giving free shrimp, I want 2 plates. Oh, and you're giving extra potato salad, I want, you know. So because we function from this place of lack, deprivation, and what have you. So we need to just think about that. And yes, and that all is in our root chakra. So if we balance out that root chakra, you'll find that that may deal with a lot of the issues that's surfacing as you walk this journey.
That's what Najami had kind of tapped into. And just so that we are fair to our guests tonight, I wanted to give them 5 minutes each to expound on their business and any kind of 5 minutes. These were the call to actions. I mean, we have covered quite a lot of information tonight on emotional eating and what BED is. Oh, what is that? And what BED is and how you can associate or how you can identify when someone's going through that kind of stress eating, and some of the solutions. Yeah, we heard about dancing. We hear a lot about incorporating self-discipline, and we heard a little bit about incorporating that self-love. So I want to say thank you both, and thank you to our featured guest Mazani for putting her 2 cents in tonight. But I wanted to be able to give the floor to our guests to just tell us what they have that's coming up, tell us a little bit about their business, tell us a little bit about themselves, how we can find them. And our first guest that I wanted to give the floor to is Pamela, could you just tell our audiences a little bit more about Posh Destination Services and what you have coming up in the future? And I'll give the floor to you.
You said everything. I don't know if I can add to that. You gave me such a wonderful introduction. But what I am concerned about is health and wellness. I am getting more into that. I'm trying to learn more about that. And of course, the older we get, the more health issues we develop. So I am having next year a health and wellness cruise to Bermuda. The theme is cruising to fit and fabulous. And I am having this, it emphasizes a lot of the conversation we had tonight. It is an emphasis on the whole body, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual self. I'm going to have workshops doing the 3 at sea days. So it's a 7-night, 8-day cruise to Bermuda. You will stay overnight in Bermuda. And during the 3 days at sea, we will have workshops about spiritual. It will include meditation, yoga, obviously the topics that we have discussed tonight, weight control, depression, anxiety, stress, how to control them. We will have other topics that concern nutrition. I have a registered certified nutritionist who is going to help with the weight planning, with the weight control. She's even going to take us on a little trip to the ship's buffet and restaurant to show us how even on a cruise we can absolutely enjoy ourselves without binging. The date is May 6th through 13th, 2018. Packages are starting at $16.23. That does include your workshop fees, your group excursion.
Girl, I am listening to something.
Okay.
I'm listening to something. I tapped you by accident.
Does that mean I'm not? Can you hear me? Okay. If you see the screen, my website is www.posh, P-O-S-H, destinationservices.com. If you go there, you will find all the details, the itinerary. I am also having next year a trip to Southern Italy. Those details are also on my website. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at pam@poshdestinationservices.com.
I like how you made that inference. Pam@poshdestination.com. Like, don't get it twisted, people. Don't get it twisted. I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for being on the Speaker MC show tonight. Did you have a good time?
I had a wonderful time. Thank you. And I learned a lot too. Absolutely awesome. Your other guests were absolutely amazing.
Oh,
thank
fabulous.
You so much.
Fabulous, fabulous. And next up is Najami. Najami, what do you have going on, lady, so that we can tell our audiences what's going on with Miss Najami?
Okay, well, I am Najami Lezama, aka Bushwoman of Bushwoman Conversations Project and Bushwoman Natural Living Tours. I must say I agree with everything everyone said tonight. Understand that when we raise our value of ourselves and things we want to incorporate in our lives, it will help in changing the way how we look at things. Because when you change the way you look at things, things change. And in my coaching program, I help people to do exactly that, to change the way how they look at things. So on February 18th next year, 2018, I'm having an awesome class, master workshop class, on 7 ways to fall in love with yourself now and always. And we will touch upon those areas in our lives that block us from raising our sense of value. I'm going to have a fabulous esthetician who's also going to talk about ways to take care of your skin, because your skin is an organ. And also, too, what we put into our body is reflected in our skin. So we're going to cover that, and I can be reached at bushwomanconversations with an S at gmail.com, bushwomanconversations@gmail.com, or people can give me a call at 347-463-0907, 347-463-0907 for more information. I'm going to have some great giveaways where you can get a percentage off at shopping at Mashoud, an African Nigerian designer, and also making hair appointments to get your hair done. February is Black History Month, is also a love month. So you want to prep yourselves. Also, the esthetician has a great offer for first-time customers. Will get 20% off on a first-time appointment. And you'll also get a free introductory 30-minute coaching session by me. So it's really all about loving ourselves, being in love with ourselves. And I must say that raising our value, understanding the effect of the negative emotions compared to positive emotions, how it affects our organs, and just becoming more aware. When you become more aware, you make more conscious, healthy, positive decisions.
Well, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for that. And we are so happy that you were on the show tonight. Did you have a good time with us?
Yes, I had a fabulous time. Always Speaker MC, keep it live and popping for sure.
So we can count on you to be back again.
Anytime, anytime. I support the Speaker MC, the S.W.E.L.L show, and the Bush Swelling
show.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you so much. And I am Speaker MC Marcia Chambers, and I do have something to announce. So in January 27th is the actual date. Saturday, January 27th from 6:30 to 8:30, location to be announced later. We are having our chocolate and champagne conversations. Yes, chocolate and champagne conversations, all about sex. Find out why he left you, find out why he came back. Who is this running back, this NFL running back? You know how we backslide when we leave them, then they go back. Yeah, we'll have conversations, riveting conversations, all adult content. Location to be announced later on, and entry fee is minimal, $27. Yeah. So stay tuned. We will be giving you more details, and we're having play dates. Our play dates are starting in April of next year, April 2018. Places such as the mountains of Georgia, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So stay tuned, because we're going to be doing it up. Because S.W.E.L.L is all about the fun. S.W.E.L.L is about the levity. We're talking about sex, giving women a chance to empower themselves by learning these informations about sexual wellness and talking and appreciating sex from a different perspective. So stay tuned for all of that. And I want to say thank you to all our guests, and thank you to our audience. I'm not sure if anyone is around who wants to ask a question. I will unmute everyone. So please hold on to your seats. I will unmute everyone. If you have a question, please just let me know that you have a question to ask either of our guests tonight. Anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to ask any questions about some of the topics that were discussed tonight on emotional eating, stress eating? Yes, no? Okay, so I will mute everyone if no one wants to talk. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for being on the Speaker MC Show tonight. I really, really do appreciate you being here, and I hope that you've learned something. If not, then maybe you just had fun, and that's appreciated as well. And we're at the end of our performance, and I just wanted to say, Maya Angelou always says, people will never remember what you said or what you did, but people will always, always remember how you made them feel. And I hope that we've made you feel a little something here tonight. Okay? So until next time, happy Thanksgiving! Good night, everyone. I'll stop my share and stop our